15 years after the Kargil conflict, can India trust Pakistan? There are two issues we want to debate here. How prepared are we? Can India trust Pakistan, especially with the changing nature of warfare? Joining me on the broadcast is Brigadier G.P. Singh. He's commanding the 56th Infantry Brigade at Dras. He joins us live from Dras. Also with me is Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal. He's authored a book on Kargil. He's been there. He's been there extensively. And Ambassador G. Parthasarathi, India's former High Commissioner to Pakistan. With me from Islamabad is Headlines Today's Hamza Amir. Brigadier G.P. Singh, heartiest congratulations on Kargil Vijay Divas, sir. If I were to come to you for the first question, 15 years ago on those heights, Pakistan army was finally defeated, but there was a 2-month-long bloody conflict. How prepared are we today for such a misadventure? Should Pakistan undertake such a misadventure now?
Firstly, our preparedness is much better. When I talk of preparedness, it encompasses all, be it our surveillance capability, our defense preparedness, our reaction capabilities, our firepower, logistic, as well as our habitat. In fact, we are totally prepared, trained to maintain the sanctity of LC.
Brigadier, also wanted to ask you, we had long gaps in 1999. Pakistan army intruded. Pakistan stabbed us in the back. That was in 1999. You may be very well prepared along this 160-kilometer long area, but can Pakistan undertake such a misadventure elsewhere? And will we be caught napping once again?
I can reply for my sector, Dras sector. No misadventure can be undertaken here, and sanctity of LC shall be maintained at all cost.
That question to Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal. Sir, you've been deployed in Kargil, you've served in the Kargil sector, you've also authored a book on the Kargil war. The gaps that were found in 1999, some of those gaps, especially when we talk about our military equipment, remain even today. You're an artillery officer yourself. We haven't bought a modern artillery piece. We haven't bought our howitzers in 30 years. How prepared are we, sir?
I think, Gaurav, the foremost lesson to be learned from the Kargil conflict is that one cannot compromise preparedness for defense and national security. And if we go by the letter leaked to the press that was written by General V.K. Singh in March 2012, I think we are still far away from being prepared. You will recall that during the Kargil conflict, the country had to buy 50,000 rounds of Bofors ammunition because it was woefully inadequate. And we fought in just one small sector of 800 kilometers line of control, leave aside the international border. So I don't think much has improved over the last 10 to 15 years since the Kargil conflict. We need to do a lot more to make up for defense preparedness. It must not be compromised.
Okay. Ambassador Parthasarathi, when we talk about what happened in 1999, now that was a big diplomatic victory also for India. You were in Pakistan at that point of time. 15 years down the line, where have we reached when it comes to India-Pakistan relations? As bad, if not worse?
Well, let me put it this way, and I discussed this with General Malik during the war. When I was in Pakistan, just prior to Kargil, number of Pakistani generals I spoke to gave me the impression that they felt that the Indian army was so tired fighting counterinsurgency in Jammu and Kashmir that they were in no position to fight a battle. They were wrong, and General Malik told me that at that point in time. With regard to defense preparedness, I'd go along with Brigadier Gurmeet. I think really seriously, thanks to the mess up of our economy, defense spending has fallen. You have spoken of the Bofors gun. Do you know the inefficiency of our defense setup? We had the designs of the gun since 1986. We tested it 20 years later. So there is, our defense structure needs a total overhaul, not just band-aid. Yes. It needs an overhaul. And I think we have to look at that. But having said that, I think we can manage any challenge from Pakistan right at the present moment.
Okay.
They're totally occupied on their western frontiers. But you can't be complacent, because right now the differences between the civilian government and the military are growing.
Yes.
Today they are asking for military to be deployed on the capital for security. The military has pushed it to that position. So I think in those circumstances of uncertainty, things can happen. So you have to be doubly sure.
Okay, I want to quickly get back to Brigadier GP Singh. If we were to talk about defense preparedness, we shed blood to win that Kargil war. 527 brave soldiers made the supreme sacrifice of their lives. If we had modern equipment, many of those lives could have been saved. Brigadier Kanwal wrote about it. Several authors have written about this. Brigadier Singh, what is your wish list? Here's a government that claims they will do anything that is needed to be done for the armed forces. What would your wish list be as the Dras Brigade commander, sir?
Modernization is an ongoing process, and in times to come, and as the time passes, obsolete equipment is changed. The wish list has been communicated through the proper channel. It involves modernization of our surveillance, firepower, communication. I wouldn't go into specific, but it has been communicated, and hopefully we'll be getting it soon.
Okay, we live in hope, but this is a lesson even for the government. For 30 years, this country has been waiting for artillery. For many years, this country is waiting for modern anti-aircraft equipment. Ammunition modernization is an ongoing drive, but that hasn't been happening. Hamza, in Pakistan, do they ever talk about the debacle in Kargil? There have been books now written. Pakistani Air Force officers have talked about how Pervez Musharraf did not take Pakistan in the loop. Any analysis in Pakistan?
Well, see, in Pakistan, there are two different forms of opinions on Kargil. One, some people say it's a success story. You speak to Hamid Gul, he'll always say it to be a success story. But on the other hand, there are people like the ones who've written book Al-Ishfaq. He's written the book Witness to Blunder. So he claims that Kargil was a blunder on part of Pakistan. Then Pakistan does not want to go too much deep as far as Kargil issue is concerned, because it has severe criticism coming back onto Pakistan. Pakistan claims that Mujahideen went into Kargil, and army responded at the time when Indian border security forces responded to the Mujahideen. This is how they want to put it, because they don't want to own it. But yet, within the army ranks and within the ranks of the people in uniform.
Okay, 800 Pakistani soldiers are understood to have lost their lives. There was a mini rebellion, we are told, that Pakistan had a tough time containing, but unfortunately no clear analysis. Brigadier Kanwal, if we were to talk about the changing nature of warfare, you've had a Kargil conflict, you've had a parliament attack, you've had 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Pakistan continues to try and bleed India through other means. How prepared are we to take on this threat from Pakistan?
Pakistan will continue to bleed India through 1,000 cuts. That is a well thought out strategy. It is high payoff, low cost for Pakistan, and I don't think they will change it. What we need to do is to address the root cause of the problem that lies across our borders. Unfortunately, we have not been doing that. We have been addressing the problem reactively within our borders on our own side of the line of control. We need to go across and address the root causes of the problem across the line of control, across the international boundary.
Okay, what's the root cause of the problem, Ambassador Parthasarathy? You've served in Pakistan. What is the root cause and how does it need to be addressed?
Look, I put it this way, that there is a section of the establishment, most notably in the army, and I must say, from what I've seen in Pakistan, this does not pervade the thinking of either the Air Force or the Navy. The thinking is that, I recall a former Director General of the ISI, who was a good friend of mine, remarking, when he was asked what is the aim of the ISI, he said, our aim is to weaken India from within, and we can do it. Now, this is what they have been trying to do, ranging from Mumbai to Indian Mujahideen, to the attack on Parliament, to the low intensity conflict across the line of control. And Brigadier Kanwal said something very interesting, which is that it has to be repaid in kind. I am afraid that successive political leaderships have felt that sweet talk and dialogue alone will do. Certainly, dialogue with a neighbor is necessary. Every effort has to be made to improve relations. But one party is following the theory, as the DGISI commented, weaken India from within. This is something which both parties should do.
Okay. Brigadier GP Singh, is that a threat in your area of operation? And as a Special Forces officer who served extensively in Jammu and Kashmir, in the summer of 1999, then Brigade Commander Brigadier Surinder Singh felt that Pakistan was trying to weaken India from within, in the Dras sector, in Sanku and all those areas. Does that threat remain even today?
I can talk about the Dras sector. Presently, and also in the past, there is no threat of insurgency here, and in case it arises any time, it will be suitably responded to.
Okay.
I may add one thing, since Kargil is a Shia area.
Yes.
We've never had a problem of cross-border terrorism.
Yes, absolutely, Brigadier Kamal. Do come in.
Gaurav, to build on what Ambassador Parthasarathy said, I do not wish to spark a war with Pakistan. It is not in the interest of either country. But when there is an incident on the line of control, we must pay back in kind, in fact, a little more than we receive. And for example, a post through which infiltration takes place into the Kashmir Valley should be razed to the ground by the artillery, by special action, border action teams, by commandos, and the other means available to us, firepower particularly.
But will this not lead to escalation?
To raise the cost, the aim should be to raise the cost of the proxy war. It should not. We are quite capable of controlling escalation. The odds are completely in our favor.
Okay. Is our political leadership, Ambassador Parthasarathy, weak, unable to take this decision? Because many times we are told that the political leadership wants the army to go ahead. It's the army that backs out.
Let me put it this way. In 2003, General Musharraf agreed that territory under Pakistan's control would not be used for terrorism. 2002 November, he took an interest in the ceasefire. As long as he was around, it held, broadly. Things started getting worse after Kayani took over. And we now know Kayani and Musharraf had differences, as do Rahil Sharif and Kayani. No two army chiefs are on the same wavelength. So I think after we made a serious political miscalculation.
Okay.
We believed that the period between 2003 and 2007, which was marked by an observance of the ceasefire, and by keeping their jihadi groups in control, would continue. We should have recognized that was going to change. Knowing, look, General Kayani, when I was there, was a divisional div commander in Murree. And in the area he commanded, the infiltration was the highest. We should have known, these are the things we don't do. We
lack the bigger picture.
And we don't analyze, change. Change was going to come with Musharraf's ouster, a weak civilian government, and Kayani there.
And that is exactly what appears to have happened.
That's what happened. So, and I go along with Brigadier Kamal that escalation management is an art by itself.
Brigadier GP Singh, in your area of operation, has there been an increase in ceasefire violations? Because in Kashmir and both north and south of Pir Panjal, there has been an increase in ceasefire violation.
You won't answer that.
There has been no ceasefire violation in the recent past. It's total peace now, and whenever it happens, it will be suitably responded to.
That's in his area.
Okay. Now, why is it? Are you well within? You have the capability to respond in kind. Is there some kind of a political pressure on you not to respond adequately? Are you? If he bombs you once, can you bomb him thrice? Just explain to us, sir. Can you punish him for violating ceasefire?
That question is for me.
Yep, Brigadier Singh.
Okay. We have total freedom to respond to and to maintain sanctity of LC. For maintenance of sanctity of LC, total freedom is given to the field commanders. There is no pressure to hold fire in case of a ceasefire violation.
Okay. Then Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, why is it that Pakistan succeeds?
Gaurav, if I might add.
Yes. No, the question I had for you, Brigadier Kanwal, is why is it that Pakistan can kill one of our BSF soldiers, they can kill one of our army jawans of the Naga regiment, and our response often is seen as either timid or restrained?
I think the Army's media management needs to be enhanced a little bit, because on the ground they are doing much more than is appearing in the press. They are giving it back in kind, nice and proper, in fact in a larger manner and fashion than they are receiving. The odds are, like I said, in our favor, and we are giving it back. If I might add to what Brigadier Singh said, yes. I commanded the brigade to the west of the Dras brigade, that is the Gurez brigade, during Operation Prakram. Gaurav, we had a preponderance of artillery firepower, mortars and other weapons. We had a preponderance of handheld thermal imagers and integrated observation equipment. We could see at night, and we punished the Pakistan Army at will whenever it was required that we do so. And that same analogy, I think, extends all along the line of control today.
Okay.
There has been a substantial improvement. Of course, we need to make up ammunition deficiencies and equipment deficiencies.
Absolutely.
Let me just take another 30 seconds.
Yes.
In the Kargil conflict, we fired approximately 250,000 rounds of artillery ammunition. By raising Pakistani posts to the ground through which infiltration takes place, within 6 months to 1 year, Gaurav, they will get the message that this cannot continue. The proxy war will come to a grinding halt. We can afford 250,000 rounds of artillery ammunition a year. They cannot.
Okay, so that's the message. That's on the 15th anniversary of the Kargil conflict. That's the message for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and for this government. Every time Pakistan violates the ceasefire, India should pay back in kind and raise costs for Pakistan. I want to continue tracking this debate, but that is all we have time for on the broadcast presently. Brigadier G.P. Singh from Dras for joining us. Many thanks. Ambassador G. Partha Sarthi, Brigadier Kanwal and Hamza Amir from Pakistan. Many thanks for being a part of this debate.